Welcome to The Explainer. You know that feeling, butterflies in your stomach? Or when you have a gut feeling you just can't shake? Well, it turns out that's not just some random feeling. It's a real, actual conversation happening inside your body. And today, we're going to listen in.
Yeah, we've all been there, right? The jitters before a big presentation, or that gut instinct about a decision that you just know is right. For centuries, we've kind of dismissed these as just metaphors. But what if they're not? What if they're actual biological signals?
Because that's exactly what those feelings are. It's your brain and your gut talking to each other. So let's dive in and uncover the science behind this incredible communication network. Okay, so this communication superhighway, it actually has a name, and it's pretty much revolutionizing how we think about health. It's called the gut-brain axis. So just think of it like a biological superhighway. You've got information constantly zipping back and forth, right? Between the main command center, that's your brain, and this incredibly complex processing unit down in your gut.
But here's the thing. This is not a one-way street. Not at all. I mean, we're all familiar with how stress in our brain can suddenly lead to an upset stomach, right? But the messages going the other way, from the gut to the brain, they're just as powerful, maybe even more so. A disruption in your gut can literally affect your mood, your behavior, and even the choices you make.
But wait, it gets even more interesting. It's not just a two-way call between the brain and the gut. Turns out, scientists have discovered a third party on the line. And this third party isn't just listening in, it's often directing the entire conversation. So who is this mystery influencer? Well, the answer is trillions, and I mean literally trillions, of tiny organisms living inside your gut right now. Yup, meet your gut microbiota. This massive community is so important, so essential to the whole process that scientists have actually renamed the whole thing. It's now called the gut-brain microbiota axis. So you got to think of them less like passengers just along for the ride and more like the actual drivers of this whole internal conversation. Okay, so what makes for a healthy gut community then? Well, everyone says a little bit different, but there are a few key signs of a thriving microbiome. You want it to be rich in numbers, diverse in the types of species, and stable enough to bounce back from things like a bad diet or a round of antibiotics. But when this really delicate ecosystem gets thrown out of whack, when the numbers are off or the types of microbes are out of sync, that has a name. It's called dysbiosis. And you can pretty much think of it as a bunch of static on that communication line between your gut and your brain. So let's talk about what happens when that communication starts to break down. And there is no better or clearer example of this than the feedback loop created by stress. Okay, this is where things get truly mind-blowing. Your gut bacteria, they're basically tiny chemical factories. Let's take serotonin, for example. We all know it as the happy chemical, right? It regulates our mood. Well, get this. Over 80% of your body's serotonin isn't made in your brain. It's made in your gut. So you can imagine when your gut is out of balance, the ripple effects are huge. They're felt throughout your entire body. In fact, this dysbiosis is now being linked to everything from mood and cognition problems to a weaker immune system all the way to inflammatory diseases. And the research really backs this up. I mean, this quote here really drives the point home. A healthy gut helps you cope with stress. It's not just about digestion anymore. It's a critical part of your mental resilience. So what happens is this pretty nasty feedback loop. Step 1, you experience stress. That stress then disrupts your gut microbiota, throws them off balance. Step 3, that unbalanced gut starts sending distress signals up to the brain. And here's the kicker, those signals make you more vulnerable to the effects of that original stress. It just becomes a vicious cycle that feeds on itself. So where is all this incredible science heading? What's next? Well, the truth is, this story is really just beginning to unfold.
And we need to be really clear here, this is still an emerging field of research. The potential is absolutely enormous, but we are just scratching the surface of what might be possible.
One of the most exciting areas to watch is the rise of something called psychobiotics. I mean, just imagine a future where we can use specific probiotics or prebiotics, not just for digestive health, but to directly support our mental health. It's a fascinating idea. All right, so as we wrap up, let's just quickly go over the big takeaways. First, your gut and brain are in constant two-way communication. Second, those trillions of microbes in your gut, They are a crucial part of this whole conversation. Third, this means a balanced microbiome can be a real ally in managing stress. And finally, and this is important, while the science is super exciting, there is still so much more to learn. And that leaves us with a final, kind of thought-provoking question, doesn't it? Your gut and your brain are in constant conversation, so maybe listening to that gut feeling is more important than we ever imagined. What do you think yours are saying?